Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen James. Guys, bringing you all the latest Rangers news. I've changed the order of the pods around this afternoon. I was going to do something different this afternoon and do this pod this evening. However, I've looked at kind of what we've got information-wise, what I've got content-wise, what I've got notes-wise. I've decided to do it this way round instead, to do the preview now and to do the Drain the Swamp pod later, which I think will cause a little bit more controversy later on. So good afternoon, Ricky. How you doing, buddy? Good afternoon, D1MO. And good afternoon, Dave. I'm all good, buddy. All good on a day off from work. So always happy to have a day off from work. Right, so look, afternoon to CJ and I hope you're doing well, buddy. Look, guys, remember, obviously, please sub to the channel. Please, obviously, remember, this is a channel that brings you free Rangers news. We don't use Patreon. We don't use paywalls. We don't fleece £2.50, £4, £3.50, whatever out of you every month for content. Let's see what happens. Stephen Moorhead, afternoon, Owen. I'm good. How are you, buddy? Our away form is awful. Hopefully, we change that tomorrow night with a win. I think that's how we're all feeling, mate. Our away form, and we are going to look at that shortly, is absolutely shocking beyond belief. Really is absolutely dreadful. Is this the one I wanted to show you? This is the current form. Right, guys, this is a current form table on the last 6 matches played. This is the current form. Where teams would be in the league if it was only 6 games, a league of 6 games. So this is the current form table. Hibernian, top of the table. I mean, perhaps that 3-3 is not so bad a result, you know, considering that. They've played 6, won 4, drawn 2, scored 13, conceded only 7. Plus, God, if it's a +6, 14 points from a possible 18 for Hibernian. So they've done very, very well, better than Celtic, who sit second. We sit third. That one loss, obviously, coming against St Mirren, really not great at all, is it? And the draw against Motherwell, let's face it, if we turned those around, we'd be sitting top of this form table now. Killy sit 4th, Ross County. Ross County, on present form, sit 5th. They're on a tear. Hearts, defying their awful start to the season, sit 6th. Dundee United 7th, St Mirren 8th, Motherwell 9th. Dundee, who we face tomorrow night, sit 10th. They're in pretty bad form. We'll touch on that in a moment. St Johnstone, awful form. They've lost 5 of their last 6. And guys, look at the bottom of the form table. Look at the bottom of the form table. Look who's down there. Aberdeen, after that absolute tear to open the season. That, to them telling them, I mean, I just want to address something. With this. So Aberdeen fans were telling us that they were back. Aberdeen fans were telling us that they were going to finish second above us. Aberdeen fans were going to telling us how they were better than us this season. Now, look, we are pretty rubbish this season, away from home especially. We're okay at home, but we're pretty rubbish away from home. And are we having a good season? No, we're not. But Aberdeen, really? Aberdeen fans, really? Genuinely? Just look at that. I don't think it's a blip anymore. I think in terms of Aberdeen, the wheels have come off, the steering wheel's fallen off, the headlights have dropped out, and the doors are on the way out. I think it's pretty much come apart, if I'm being honest with you. Yeah, Airwolf, it could do. I mean, let's face it, anything could happen at Dens Park. Anything could happen at Dens Park. Do we really believe this board will back Clement to then potentially sack him in the summer, if not sooner, says Geordie? Geordie, watch it out. We're going to talk about that tonight in the Drain the Swamp pods. Hang on to those thoughts about the board. There's also a video this afternoon about, I think I'm dropping about 3 o'clock, all about the board, my thoughts on the present board. But yeah, looking at that form table, we sit 3rd. Dundee sitting 10th. So Dundee, coming into this game, are not in the best of form. They've won only 2 of their last 6 games. So they're not doing that well at the moment, are they? Your wee alcoholic Uncle Tony, he's not doing that well at the moment, is he? Are things coming apart a little bit for your wee alcoholic Uncle Tony? I don't know about you, but doesn't Tony Docherty looks like a drunk? He really does look like a drunk. I mean, if you look across their last few results, they won their last game, but that was against St Johnstone 3-1. So I mean, let's face it, no great achievement there. Although we do have St Johnstone next on Sunday. They lost 2-1 to Dundee United. Beat St Mirren 2-1. They lost 3-0 at home to Ross County. They lost to us, obviously. They lost to Hearts. The last time they won at home was on the 4th of December, a 4-1 over Motherwell. So it's not looking great, is it? It's not looking great for them. They do sit down there, and their form is not good at all. So I suppose one slight encouragement is that their form is not good coming into this fixture. Then again, ours is what I suppose you could call mixed at this point. Some fans were touting Thielen to replace Clement. Thankfully, we didn't. I've got to say, agree that's coming, Ricky, in a minute. Afternoon. Yeah, I mean, look, let's have a quick look, shall we? This is the away form table. I've got it here. Here it is. Away form. This is our away form. I mean, this is the big issue for me coming into tomorrow night. It is the away form. And I'll talk about those percentages and stats in a minute. But if you look at the away form, we sit third. I think, we've come up from sixth. But I think that says more about how shit the rest of the league is rather than how decent we are. I mean, the rest of the league, if you get beyond Celtic and even to some degree Dundee United there, is pretty poor away from home. I mean, Celtic are kind of the benchmarks there, aren't they? I mean, you look at Celtic there and they're the benchmark. They've won 8, they've drawn 1, they've lost 1. Obviously, the loss coming at Ibrox. Games, so they haven't, they've only conceded in half of their games. They've scored 23, so they're averaging 2.3 goals per game. Everyone else is averaging pretty much under a goal a game. But, in terms of the away record at this moment in time, it is not great, isn't it? It's pretty horrendous. So 10 games, 3 wins, 3 draws, 4 losses. I mean, that's what's hurt us. That away table has hurt us. Those 7 non-positive results, those 3 draws, 4 defeats. That's what's really, really hurting us. Really hurting us going forward. We have moved up to third, which I suppose is a benefit because we drew against Hibernian. We didn't lose to them, but the away form is what is costing us. The home form table, we sit top or second or joint top with Celtic. On that, we haven't lost at home, but it is just the away form that is massively, massively hurting us. Really massively hurting us. Afternoon, Loop. Hamza for a hat trick. I certainly hope so, Loop. I've got some interesting stats to share with you on Hamza. It is Ricky. Nothing yet, Airwolf. I've got some theories on that. I'll try and touch on it in this pod. If I don't trust it on this pod, then I'll touch on it on tonight's. But you look at some of the stats. Win percentages. So we win 90% of our home games, but we only win 30% of our away games. We draw 30% of our away games, draw 10% at home. Decent. 0% loss at home, 40% away. So we actually lose more games away from home than we win or draw percentage-wise. 40% of our games away from home, we have lost. 40%. I mean, that's ridiculous. Our XG as well. If you look at the XG there, our XG at home is 2.05. Our XG is lower away, 1.74. Our goals against XG again is over a goal a game away from home, whereas it's under a goal a game at Ibrox. So you can see that away from home, not only do we struggle to score goals, we also struggle to keep them out of the net as well. So you can see there's a real issue there with scoring and conceding away from home. Goals scored per match, we average 1.2 away from home. We average 2.5 at home. So again, hell of a lot better at home. We concede 0.3 at home. We concede 1.3 away. So we actually statistically concede more than we score. So we average 1.2, but we concede 1.3. We've kept 40% clean sheets away, 70% clean sheets at home. Failed to score. We haven't never failed to score at Ibrox this season, but 30% away from home. Our possession statistics are fairly similar there. Shots taken per match. Now, this is another stat. If you look at this one, we take on average 16 shots at home, around 13 shots away from home. So we're taking less shots as well. We're creating less opportunities away from home. We commit shots conversion rate. I mean, if you look at that shots conversion rate, shots to goals conversion rate, at home, we convert 16% of our chances, whereas away from home, we convert under 10% of our chances. So, that is just crazy that we are scoring less than 10% of our chances away from home. So there is a real lack of clinicalness, a real lack of taking your chance when you're playing away from home. We actually haven't had a penalty this season. Yeah, Absolutely. Penalties conceded. We've conceded 1 in 10 games at home, 3 in 10 games away. 4 penalties. We've conceded 4 penalties, and we haven't had a single penalty as yet this season in the league. Which sort of puts a lie, doesn't it, to Celtic's old Rangers get all the penalties. Interesting. Has any other Rangers manager had a 40% loss away? I mean, that's a good question. I haven't looked into it, but that is a hell of a stat, isn't it? Airwolf home. Now, why do you think we're so bad away from home? I don't know. I think if you look at the way we play at home in recent games, we play with more aggression. We play with a bit more tempo. The crowd obviously helps as well. I think away from home, domestically, we struggle because we struggle to break down the low block. We struggle to break down teams that just sit in. We don't cope well against them at all. We haven't got a strategy for opening them up. We make some bad decisions as well in away games. I mean, if you go back to the Hibs game for a minute, we go 2-0 up, and instead of going for them and absolutely trying to put them to the sword and finish them off, we sit 5 to 10 meters deeper again. We sit back and try and hold the result. That is a great strategy to use in Europe. If you go 2-0 up away at Nice, or 2-0 up away at Manchester United, or 2-0 up away at Liverpool, or 2-0 up away at Borussia Dortmund or Eintracht Frankfurt, then yes, sit a bit deeper, soak up, hit on the counter, because that'll work against those clubs. When you're playing against the likes of Ross County, the likes of Dundee, the likes of Motherwell, dropping deeper and trying to hold on to what you've got is not a great strategy, because it doesn't work. And like I said, I think as well, domestically, we struggle against the low block. When we go away to places, teams will sit in, they'll frustrate, they'll do everything they can to stop us from playing, because they know that they know that if they frustrate us, they stop us from playing football, they're going to get some success. They know if they come and try and give us a game of football and play us, then they're probably going to get absolutely smashed. This away form has been an issue since Gerrard. If we doubled our wins, the league wouldn't look as bad as it is. Correct, Airwolf. If we turn some of those draws into wins in that away form table, it wouldn't look quite as bad, would it? I mean, for example, if we go back to that away form table for a minute, there's 3 draws in there. The 3 draws in there, the one at Motherwell, the one at Hibernian, and the other one was away. Where was the other away draw? So if anyone can tell me in the live chat, where was the third away draw? It's escaping my mind. But, that Motherwell game, okay, probably a draw is fair there. But Hibernian, another 2 points on that. That takes us up, takes us up a couple more points. Doesn't look as bad then. If we say have 4 more points at this stage of the season, 4 more points from those games, then yeah, it doesn't look anywhere near as, it doesn't look quite as bad. It doesn't look quite as bad, 4 more, if we've got 4 more points now, if we're sitting and say 4 more points than we currently have at this present moment in time, then you've got a situation where that gap's back down to 9 points. Pick that up a little bit more. Maybe time we played on the counter away. I mean, that's the issue, Ricky, but I don't think teams will come out and attack us. That's the one thing I'd say about that. But who's calling us to sit deep, the manager or the players doing it themselves? Airwolf, that's the question. And I'd love to know who ordered that in the Hibs game. When we were 2-0 up, who told the players to sit off? Who told the players to sit back? Was it the players making that decision themselves? Or was it the coaching staff telling them to sit back and defend a little bit deeper? I'll be honest, Airwolf, and I might be talking complete pish here, which, I often do. But I don't think it would have been the players. That doesn't sound like a player decision to me. That doesn't sound like the sort of things the players would do. That sounds like the sort of thing the coaching staff would put across to them, is to sit back, sit a little bit deeper, just drop in a little bit. So, yeah, I don't know. I think, very much that could be down to the manager. Look, Dundee away last season was a 0-0, and it was a dire game, wasn't it? It was an absolutely dire game. We all watched that game, and we all kind of sat there and thought, this is absolutely shocking. This is really poor. And then the manager comes out afterwards and says it's one of our better performances. And you just sit there thinking, seriously, what the hell are you on about, Philippe Clement? I mean, genuinely, what the hell are you on about? But tomorrow night, we need to go out. We need to start to turn this away form round. We need to start putting this right. Because if this continues, if this continues throughout the rest of the season, and we continue to drop points away from home, you're going to have Celtic winning the league by something like 20 to 30 points this season, which is absolutely unforgivable, which is just not acceptable in the slightest. To be fair, we don't have a first choice back four, so it could be a bit of fear as there is nowhere near our strongest defence. The only thing I'd say about that, Airwolf, is if you haven't got a good defence, what's the best form of attack? What's the best form of defence? Is attack. If you worry about your defence and your defence's ability to defend, go on the attack. He was manager, changed his tactics after the second goal. Clement never adjusted for the change. And that is something that Clement has been called out for on a number of occasions. His inability to adapt to in-game management, his inability to change his tactics, change his way of playing because of how the opposition changes. The other draw was, that's it. That was the one. Yeah, I mean, that one again, we should have won that one. 0-0 at Hearts at the start of the season. That was it, Stephen. Thank you for that. Again, a game we could have won. The Dundee, I mean, we could see, I mean, honestly, you look at the table and you say, let's say we pick up 4 points from those 2 draws there. I think the Motherwell one, a draw was a reasonable result. We were lucky not to lose that one. But you say take 4 from that. The Dundee United game, second half, we probably should have scored the second, I would say. So if we're sitting on 46 points now, we're only 7 points behind them. It's not as bad a situation. Scott Hammond says, looks like the board will accept second place due to circumstances they created. Yeah, I'm going to agree with that, Scott. Watch the Scott video, comes out at 3 o'clock. I talk about that on the video. So watch the video at 3 o'clock. I kind of explain that a little bit further. What would worry me about Russell Martin is Brand Martin, his way or no way. I've got to say, I would not want Russell Martin as our manager. Really, genuinely wouldn't want Russell Martin as our manager. That's not a good shout for me as manager. I don't know who I'd want. I'd have to look into it. I haven't done much research into it yet. Right, let's have a quick look, shall we, through some stats before we talk about the game, the possible formations. I also want to talk at the end of the pod as well, so hang on for this. I want to talk about, has Philippe Clement thrown Patrick Stewart under the bus? That's a question. We're going to get to that one at the end of the pod, so hang on for that. We've also got a poll running as well in the live chat. Says, what's the result Thursday night? At the moment, 19% of you are saying it's going to be a Dundee win. 22%, 24%, sorry, 68% of you say a Rangers win, and 9% are saying a draw. We've also got a goal running as well, 5 super chats within the next hour and 37 minutes to help support the channel. Right, so let's get back, shall we, to looking at some stats, some facts, some figures. I agree with this one, Ricky. I don't think we should get Russell Martin either. Let's look at some stats and facts and figures going into the game against Dundee on Thursday night at Dens Park. Right, so overall, home and away, there's been 51 games in recent times between Rangers and Dundee. That we've won 40 of those 51 games. So, statistically, and I know that doesn't reflect how we're playing at the moment or our current squad or form or any of that. So statistically, we've won 78% of the games against Dundee. So we've won over 3/4 of our games against Dundee. They've only won against us 4 times. 4 times. 4 games against us. That is it. 7 draws in that time. So that's the overall record at Ibrox and at Dens Park. That's a really good record, a really good positive record to look. We've got that track record of always beating them. He has to remember last January, Clement stated no money to spend in January last season, so he has thrown Picard under the bus. Yes, like I said, we are going to discuss that, so hang on for that. It is upcoming. Now, our record away at Dundee is pretty decent as well. So there's been 25 games away from home against Dundee, and we've won 17 out of those 25. 17 out of those 25, which gives us a 68% win ratio. Again, they've only won twice against us, and there's been 6 draws. We've outscored them 53. They've only scored 16 goals in those 25 games. I mean, that is pretty shocking indeed. So statistically, we are miles ahead of them. All right, guys, question in the live chat. Question for you in the live chat, and we'll come to this shortly. When was the last time Rangers lost to Dundee? When was the last time Rangers lost to Dundee at Dens Park? At Dens Park. Okay, not at Ibrox. So when was the last time that Rangers lost to Dundee without Googling it, without going on any websites? When was the last time we lost to Dundee? When was the last time we actually physically lost to Dundee? So get your guesses in now, and we will do answers shortly. Let's have a quick look through some comments. Arteta was blaming the ball for missed chat. Yeah, I know, that was hilarious, man. I mean, that's almost Arsene Wenger-esque, isn't it? You know, saying that that's absolutely crazy. That's absolutely crazy, isn't it? To say that we lost because of the ball. I mean, just absolutely mental. Absolutely mental. Our board are not ambitious, says Daffin. Stop lining up your own pockets. We're a great club. We deserve success. I agree. Early 2000s, says Ricky. And Stephen says, when John Brown played with Dundee. Well, like I said, we will get to that shortly. I have got that. So get me your answers. I'll accept just the year. I'm not looking for the date. If you can do the date, brilliant. If you can do the score as well, even better. It does not manage your manager is the board unable to back them financially, says Graham. Like I said, there is a video coming up out on that, so please obviously look out for that. Last few set of results that we've had against them, we'll come up within a minute. Right, results this season against Dundee. So we played Dundee twice this season. We beat them 1-0 at Ibrox and 3-0 at Ibrox in the Cup quarter-final, League Cup quarter-final. We beat them at home. That was a 1-0 win back on the 21st of December. From what I remember, that was not a particularly inspiring game. That was the game when Jack Butland obviously had to go off because his wife was giving birth to their child. So you may remember that game. It was 1-0. It wasn't a great game, was it? It was a very, very hard watch. I mean, not a lot to write home about. Cheney scored in the 46th minute, but other than that, it was a pretty dire game. Probably the best point of the game was the shirts. We wore the anniversary shirts in that game. The Cup quarter-final, going back to that one, that was a 3-0 at Ibrox. Those of you who remember that game, Cyril Dessers scored twice and James Tavernier converted a penalty in that game. So we have had a penalty in the League Cup this season. Some comments coming in. 1962, 89-90. Google, Stephen, Google. 1981, says Graham. Interesting comments. All of you wrong so far. In those comments. So, you know, yeah, that's pretty shocking. This season we've played against them, we've beat them all at home. Hasn't been great, hasn't been inspiring. It's done a job. That's all it's there for, isn't it? It really is. Right, to put you out of your misery, the last time we lost to Dundee in a game at Dens Park, was on the 24th of November. There we go. And it's not as long ago as you think it was. It was. Have we got a guess? Have a look. 14th of March 2001. Nope. Google was not used. Lol. Now, the last time we lost to them at Dens Park was on the 24th of November 2017. We lost 2-1 on that day. Right. Now, do you remember when I talked about the last time we lost to Hibs and the last time we lost to this club? You know, for me, there's a really interesting pattern emerging in the last time we lost to a lot of these clubs. Hibs, Motherwell, and Dundee. Does anyone know who was the referee in all of those games that we lost? Who was the ref in all of the games that we lost? Who was it? So we haven't lost for them for 7 years. So that's a positive. We haven't lost to them at Dens Park for 7 years. So that's a good positive. That's a good positive to take into it. Wasn't beaten, though. It wasn't beaten. No. It wasn't beaten. There's a clue for you there. It wasn't beaten. So we lost 2-1. Anyway, so we'll come to the ref in a minute. The Rangers team that day it wasn't Colm, no. It was Clancy. Bobby, well done. Yes, it was Kevin Clancy. Kevin Clancy was the referee. So remember I said the other day, the last time we lost to Hibernian, Kevin Clancy was the ref. Well, the last time we lost to who played against Dundee, Kevin Clancy was the ref. There's a bit of a pattern emerging here, isn't there? I wonder if I went through and researched all the times last time we lost to different teams, it was Kevin Clancy as the ref. Interesting. I'm not that I'm insinuating any sort of conspiracy theory here that Kevin Clancy presides over Rangers losses. I'm not inciting any sort of conspiracy theory. I'm just pointing out a fact that Kevin Clancy has refereed the last time we lost to Hibs and the last time we lost to Dundee. The Rangers team that day that lost to Dundee was Fotheringham in goal, back four, James Tavernier, what a surprise. McCrory, not Robbie, obviously. Wilson and John. A midfield four of Candeas, Holt, Jack and Miller, and a front two of Morelos and Windass. The bench that day was Jack Anick, the goalkeeper, David Bates, Lee Hodson, Jamie Barjonas, Carlos Pena, Ryan Hardy, and Eduardo Herrera. And the manager that day, who was the manager? Who was the manager on the 24th of November 2017? Do you know who the Rangers manager was? Let me know in the live chat. The Dundee team that day was Parish in goal, Kerr, Meekings, Hendry, Artenos, O'Hara, wasn't Pedro, no, Kamara, Deacon, McGowan, El Baktumi, and Harbour. And the goals that were scored that day, O'Hara scored first, Josh Windass equalised, and then Mark O'Hara got the winner in the 80th minute. So a 2-1 in 2017. It wasn't Cainino, it wasn't Pedro. It wasn't Pedro, a team full of duds. It wasn't a great team, Airwolf, was it? It wasn't a great team. It was, get Colombo to investigate. The manager that day was Graham Murty. Graham Murty was the manager the day we lost 2-1 to Dundee. Yes, Murty. That's it. That's who it was. Graham Murty. A 2-1 defeat. Now, certainly if you look over more recent results, recent results are better. I mean, obviously there was that horrible 0-0 last time we met in an evening game. Doesn't bode well. 17th of April 2024. That was probably the game that completely ended our chances of winning the league last season, wasn't it? I mean, prior to that, we had a 5-0 in 23, a 2-1 in 2022, a 3-0, a 1-0. There was a draw in 2018, a 2-1, a 2-1. So we actually lost back to back. February and November. So we lost in the season and the season before that. So we actually hadn't, before that win in 2021, we actually hadn't beaten Dundee Dundee at Dens Park for 3 seasons. There was a 2-1, a 3-1, and a 2-0. So up until that draw, that 0-0 draw, the results weren't bad. Up until that 0-0 draw, we'd beaten them 1-0, 3-0, 2-1, 5-0. So we were actually coming off a decent run of results against them, 4 wins against them. There was a little patch there of bad results and then another little patch of good results there. So, overall, our record is pretty decent. So their 2 wins at home, both came in 2017. Both that was the last time Dundee had any success against Rangers, was 7 years ago. In that Dens Park. So it's a positive. Something to take from that is those positive results. That our track record at Dundee is not exactly bad. It's not brilliant, but it's not bad. They're beating us now. Grant, I certainly hope they're not, mate. I hope they're not. I mean, we can't afford to fall any further behind because it would just turn the league into a complete and utter joke. Now, look, tomorrow night, it's going to be a tough game. They will be bang up for it, as we know. They will block and they will cause as much trouble. They'll slow the game down as much as they can. They'll time waste. They'll foul. I mean, we Uncle Tony, we Alky Uncle Tony will have them all set up to spoil the game as much as possible. He won't want a football match because he knows if he starts a football match with us, he's probably going to get beat 4-5. We need to start quick again. We need to, if you go back to the Hibernian game, when you take the positives of the Hibernian game, and there were positives in the Hibernian game, the first 20 minutes, we were actually quite good. We actually played quite well. We really did. And we got 2 goals up. And then it was that sitting back that cost us. So tomorrow night, we've got to start fast. We've got to start quick. We've got to start aggressive. We've got to then not take our foot off the pedal after 20 minutes or 15 minutes or 25 minutes. We've got to take it to 45, the full 45, fast, hard, aggressive. If we go out fast, hard and aggressive against Dundee, then we should be 2-3 up by half time. because this is not a good Dundee team. This is not a good Dundee team. Yes, they have some good players. They've got Lyle Cameron, who's a decent player, who's someone who we're allegedly interested in. And I certainly would welcome the signing of Lyle Cameron. I think that would be a very, very good move for Rangers. Certainly do. But, they're not a top team. They're not a great team. In terms of their players, you look at their team, obviously the goalkeeper's not bad. They've got, that's Josh Ray. They've got Wright, Sanders, Mikulic, Raymond, Smith, Sprangler, Carey, Clark. Kimpioka's not a bad player. Sidibe's not a bad player. But, other than that, they're not a top team. They're not a top team. So they're eminently beatable. But again, we've got to go out there with the right attitude. Now, if we can go out there with the first 20 minutes against Hibs attitude and the attitude against Celtic, then this game should be theoretically over by half time. But if we get into a strong position and we do what we did against Hibs, which is take our foot off the pedal, sit back, defend deep, try and soak up pressure, they will score and we'll end up coming away with a draw or worse. Or if we start the game like that, slow, defensive, sitting back, slow passing, slow movement, slow everything, then, at the end of the day, we're going to end up with not getting the result we need. And that's not good enough. Grant says here, officiating has gone beyond a joke. They used to say Beaton was one of us until they threatened him and his family. Now he is shit scared to give us anything. I mean, we don't get anything with John Beaton as ref. We never do. We never get a penalty. We never get anything with John Beaton. And I've got to say, the Celtic fans who threatened him, I've got to say Celtic fans in general are subhuman. They really are absolute scumbags. Grant says here, it's Thursday. I mean, yeah, that's a positive. It is Thursday. It's Thursday night. I mean, Thursday night is a Rangers night, allegedly. So, I mean, I suppose that's the one positive. I mean, what do we do? Play the Europa League anthem in the dressing room before we go out there and hope it has an effect on them? Tell them that it's not Dundee, that it's Malmo or it's Norgesland or it's Olympia or it's Panathinaikos or something that we're playing against? Or Everton or someone that wears blue? I don't know. That might be the answer, Grant. It is Thursday night. You've got to think positive if it's a Thursday night. I mean, there was that joke that Rangers should play all their games on a Thursday. Then it would obviously win the league by a landslide. But yeah, look, it's not going to be an easy game tomorrow night. It's not going to be a game, I think, where, they're going to make it easy for us. But we've got to make it easy on ourselves. And that is by playing a fast, hard, aggressive start and getting straight into them. Because if we don't, then, at the end of the day, we are going to struggle. We are going to struggle. We really are. We need to start fast. We need to start hard. We need to start aggressive. We do need to kind of, make this game done by half time. Really do. And that is through playing fast, playing aggressive, moving the ball quickly, doing what we did for the first 20 against Hibs and what we did for the entire 90 against Celtic. If we do that, then this shouldn't even be a game. It shouldn't even be a game. Now, obviously the issue is around team selection. I don't know who's fit. I don't know who's not fit until Clement speaks to the media and comes out and says, oh, well, okay, Tav's fit, Butland's fit, or they're not fit. It all comes down to, who's actually going to be available for the game. Now, one thing we do know now is that Robin Proper is not suspended. Sky did report, and this is why I said it, that Robin Proper was suspended for the Dundee game. He's not suspended. So we know that Robin Proper is available. We know that Nicholas Raskin is unavailable. So, not having Raskin will be a very, very big loss. It'll be a massive loss. Raskin is a quality player. He really is a top player. So, he's been probably, along with Hamza, our best player since the turn of the year. He's been brilliant. I mean, in that 6 role, he has absolutely dominated. He's been the metronome. He controls the game. He runs the passing. He does everything. He's been captain fantastic. If he's not there, if Tav's not there, if Butland's not there, if Sterling's not there, who captains the team? That's another one. Who captains the team? It's a massive one, isn't it? It's a big one tomorrow night. And obviously not having Nicholas Raskin, I think, will be a big loss for Rangers because the guy has played so well. And I think, we saw, didn't we, in the St Mirren game, when he doesn't play first half, we're the worst team out there. He comes on second half, we improve. We still don't win the game, we lose the game, but we do look a better side when Raskin's on the pitch. Now, obviously, no Raskin on Thursday night, that prevents a bit of an issue. Obviously, who do we bring in? Who captains the team? Who replaces Raskin? I mean, realistically, it's probably going to be Barron that replaces Raskin, I would say. Barron replaces Raskin. So who comes in? And then as captain, some people say Hadji possibly as captain, maybe. We are a crap away from home, but nothing would surprise me, says Grant. The Graham Potter's going to West Ham, I think, Airwolf. Interesting point made. Brighton manager are a success thanks to the infrastructure they are. Brighton's infrastructure is very good. And if we're looking to put a trading model in place that's actually going to work and a way of buying players and selling players on and being able to, in effect, punch above your weight, then Brighton is a great model to do that. They're doing brilliantly this season in the Premier League. Hadji says, Ricky, Raskin is a better captain than Tav. Raskin shows leadership. Yeah, I mean, Stephen, I'll be honest with you. Even when if Tav's back and Tav plays and Raskin plays, for me, Raskin should be the captain. Raskin should be the captain. There should be no debate over that. I mean, the lad's just different class. He really is. Like I said, I don't know who's the problem we've got. Like I said, going into tomorrow's game is we don't know who's going to be fit, who's not going to be fit. There's injury doubt over Sterling. There's injury doubts over Tavernier. There's injury doubts over Butland. There's too many players missing at this moment in time. So how theoretically do we line up for that game against Dundee? Again, I'm only guessing this because I don't know who's going to be fit, and this is why I haven't done a lineup myself that I want to talk about to you. I mean, how I think he might line up is something like this: Kelly or Butland in goal, depending if Butland's fit. I think if Butland's fit, he probably comes straight back in, especially after the fact that third goal that we conceded against Hibs was down to Kelly. Ridvan at right back again, because Sterling is probably going to be out injured. Tav might still be out injured. Not Kelly. Sorry, I've got that wrong player. King, it should be. That should say, not Kelly. Can't play Liam Kelly in central defence. Although I don't know, he might do a decent job there. I think Leon King probably comes into central defence alongside Proper, but not because Clement wants that, because he's got no other choice but to do that. Hiefte at left back, Barron and Dio. Barron replaces Raskin in that role, so Barron's asked to do the Raskin role. Cheney right, Bayrami 10, Hadji left, Hamza up top. I think that's probably what he has to go with. So I don't know. Good point here. Why is there so many bloody injuries? It's pathetic, says Ross. There's a lot. It's all defensive as well, isn't it? Has Gilligan threw Picard on the bus saying Clement will be back? That's a good point. Has he done that? We're going to talk about that shortly. Rangers have a proper player. Proper. Ha ha. Why? Oh, please God, no, Airwolf. Airwolf, don't even joke about it. If Dessers or Dowell start tomorrow, it's just you might as well not watch the game. You might as well turn it off, at least for the first 45 minutes until they get hooked at half time. Because I'm not being funny, but Cyril Dessers is probably one of the worst footballers I have ever seen in a Rangers shirt. And he should never play for the club again. I said on X yesterday, for me, Zach Lovelace should be on the bench over Dessers. I'd put Dessers in the stands and put Lovelace on the bench. And Kieran Dowell should be nowhere near the first team. As I said on the video this morning, I don't know what Kieran Dowell is. He's an alleged footballer. He looks more like a competition winner that got the right to play for Rangers. He's not a winger. He's not a 10. He's not an 8. He's not a 6. He's not a striker. He's not a defender. I don't actually know what Kieran Dowell is, what Kieran Dowell's purpose is. I'm sure Mrs. Dowell does, but I'm sure for Mrs. Dowell and the little Dowells, he's got a purpose as a dad and a husband. But as a footballer, to me, he has very little purpose. Sterling to be captain. Yeah, Sterling might be captain if he's fit, but a lot depends on how bad that injury is to Sterling. Until Philippe Clement speaks to the media, whenever that is, I think it could be today, it could be tomorrow. I don't know when it's going to be. We don't know. Just as what I never saw Alex Miller play. Mate, Dessers is still the worst. Dessers makes Sebo and Solenko look world class. I mean, he really does. If I had a choice between playing Sebo, Solenko, or Dessers, I would choose Sebo. And if Sebo was injured, I'd choose Solenko. And if Solenko and Sebo were injured, I'd use Broxy Bear. I really would. Anybody over Dessers. I'd pick anybody over Dessers. I'd rather play my 70-odd-year-old mum up front over Dessers. I really would. But, look, the whole situation around the captaincy is up in the air. The team selection is up in the air. So, it's not like we're going into this game with what I would say is perfect preparation, is it? We're going into this game with an awful lot of players missing. We really are. It is press conference day today. So, hopefully hang on for that. We'll hopefully get you some press conference feedback. Nadeem Bayrami is currently speaking to the media. So far, he said, "We are ready and looking forward to the game. Everyone knows what they have to do. We will do everything we can to ensure we take 3 points. I'm feeling good in the position that I am in at the moment. We played well in the first half against Hibs. I'd argue with that, the first 20 minutes, Nadeem. So tomorrow we need to make sure we do this for the full 90. No shit, Sherlock. Of course we do. Of course we do." Stephen Clement. Only thing that's got me confident about tomorrow is it's Thursday. True. PC doesn't have the balls to strip Cat out of the captaincy. I agree. He should do. He won't. I agree 100% with that comment there. Grant, he won't have the balls to do it because he's scared of Tav. I think Tav runs the team, to be honest with you. I really do. Right, we will get back. We will get back to this game. Guys, what's your predictions for tomorrow night? What's your predictions for tomorrow night? What's your predictions going to be for tomorrow night? I'm going to take a 2-1 to Rangers. I don't think it'll be a good performance. I think it'll be a scrappy 2-1. I think we'll go 2-0 up. They'll score, and then it'll be a nervy last half an hour, and we'll hang on for a 2-1. So my prediction is 2-1. Hamza and Tierney to score the goals. I've got an interesting stat about Hamza, actually. I'm trying to share this with you. This is how good Hamza is. This is how good this young lad is at this moment in time, right? Now, even taking Hamza across the whole season, he looks good. A goal every 102 minutes, which is pretty good. Just over 90 minutes to get a goal, right? He averages he's played 22 games, scored 11 goals. So he averages 1 in 2. So that's pretty decent across the whole season. This is Hamza's record in the last 11 games that he's played, right? So in the last 11 games that Hamza has played, he's scored 10 goals, 2 assists. So 12 goal contributions in 11 games, just under a goal a game. And at the moment, he is averaging a goal or an assist every 71 minutes. That is phenomenal. That is best in class. That is what we want. So D1 says 3-0 Rangers. Daffeth says 3-1 Rangers. Kenneth's going for a 1-0. If we go at it 4-0, normal away form, close 3-2 win, says Ricky. 3-1 says Stephen. Igman, Hadji and Tierney. We'll take that. 3-1 says Alan. And Dowler's a wage thief. That's all he is. About right, Grant. But that record of Hamza's is absolutely phenomenal. That just shows what an absolute quality player Hamza really is. I mean, the lad is just different class. And I mean, I think, it's unfair to assess Hamza across the whole season, because I think earlier in the season, he was kind of not 100% ready to play. And he was asked to come on. He was asked to start a couple of times, and he looked out of place. Whereas now he's starting to come into his own. He's starting to look like the player, the class act that he is. And those stats just show you that now he's settled into the team. Now he's coming to his sort of, starting to start that climb up to become a really good player. I mean, look at those statistics. They are, yes, Hamza passes the eye test. He's physical, he's direct, he goes past players, he muscles past players. He is quality. But those stats in themselves tell the same story. 11 games played, 10 goals, 2 assists, 862 minutes, a goal every 71 minutes. That is just absolutely fabulous. Absolutely fantastic. What have we got here? Hamza Igman double says D1. 2-1 Rangers, says Ross Ferguson. Stephen Cleland says, if Igman keeps that up, he will be off in the summer. Board won't turn down, for example, 15 million. Agreed. Take Hamza over Shankland. Absolutely, Airwolf. We have a gem in Igman. Obviously, the board will sell him for peanuts. That's always the worry, Ricky. But, like you just said, if he keeps that form up, if he keeps playing that way, then the lad is going to be fantastic. He's going to be fantastic. And yeah, he probably is going to be off in the summer for £20 million, 15 to 20 million pound, which, is not unrealistic. It really isn't. The guy's absolute legend. He's absolutely quality at this moment in time. Really, really good. And the long may it continue. Long may it continue. Dessers runs the same stats, only on misses though. Lol. That's about right. Right, look, we'll come back. Hopefully Clement will speak whilst we're on air, and we'll get that to you. So we'll hopefully get that to you when Clement starts to speak to the media. Bayrami's just talked about Hamza. he said about Hamza, he says, Hamza found it hard in the beginning, coming in from a different country, but I feel everyone does what they can to help him, both on and off the pitch. Scoring goals helps give him confidence, and it will help us also assisting him. We have a good relationship together. So it's positive, that there's that link between the two of them already. D1 says 50 million price tag now to keep him. Yeah, seriously, if you want him, I don't think it's ever going to happen though, mate. Don't think it's going to happen. Grant saying 4-1 to the Rangers. Hamza hat-trick and Cheney 1. Scott is saying here, we will first low ball offer, no doubt, for Igman. We need to big sell-on clause if he does go. Agreed. Airwolf, I think there's a chance. I think there's every chance that a Premier League club that's near the relegation zone could welcome calling for him. I mean, Everton, obviously, there's been talk of Everton. There's been talk of West Ham, been interested in him. I think there's every chance that happens. But hopefully, whatever they come in with, the board turned down. I mean, the only way that I would consider selling Hamza in January is if someone comes in with a stupid offer. And we know that Premier League clubs panic around January, especially if they're near the bottom of the league. If some idiots were to come in with, say, 20, 25 million, then realistically, you've got to look at it, because 20 million is a lot of money we could reinvest in the squad. And, we could seriously get 3 or 4 players for that and improve the squad. But you've got to sort of weigh that up. I mean, I suppose the thing is that technically the league's done this season. So if we were to say get 20 million and start and then bring players in January to help with the rebuild, is that the right thing to do? But I do think teams will come. Hopefully the board will say no and they'll wait till the summer, when I think he's going to be worth a lot more. Kenneth says here, start price 20 to 30 million. Yeah, I agree. It should be. I mean, if you look at, I think I've spoken about this before, but if you look down south and you look at players moving down south and you look at championship players moving to the Premier League, championship players are moving for between 15 and 25 million pounds to the Premier League. These are championship players who haven't got European experience, who haven't played as big a club as Rangers, haven't played any international football. Yet, Hamza has played in the Europa League. He plays for Rangers, one of the biggest clubs in world football, and he's played for the Moroccan under-23s. So he's got that experience. Now, you've got, like I said, if you're paying 18, 20, 25 million pound for a championship player with none of that experience, then I think minimum has to be 20 to 30 million for Hamza. Absolutely. We could with the money, we could do. We need Todd Boyd to throw money around Hamza. I can't see Chelsea coming in from Airwolf. In fact, I think Chelsea are going to try and cut their squad size, because their squad size is like 43. It's crazy. Absolutely. Get a sell-on put in the contract. I think that's a good shout. I think that is a good point. Get that sell-on put into the contract, because at the end of the day, we do need that. We really do need that. We do need that sell-on. So, when he goes for 30, 40 million in the future, 50 million in the future, we can get 20% of that. And we need to start being clever like that when we do sell players, that we insist that clubs put sell-ons in their contracts, so we can start to bring in more money. Absolutely. What's his stats compared like Haaland's first 11 games, for example? I don't know. I'll have to go and do some research on that. Celtic were wanting 22 for Kyogo. Hamza will sell on and has more development. Agreed, Airwolf. If you want 22 for Kyogo, then you've got to be looking at 25 at least for Hamza. 100% agree with that one. 100% agree with that one. Right, look, we'll hopefully get some news from Clement about fitness as the afternoon progresses. I'm watching the podcast. I'm watching the Twitter feed as we speak. I just want to touch on something about Clement and about the whole situation around Clement. Now, we're aware of this quote. We're all aware of this quote of Philippe Clement that he made the other day, regarding the statement, regarding, so how come people say 50 to 20 million for Hamza when that mob got 25 for O'Reilly? I mean, good point. I suppose the only thing is O'Reilly had slightly more experience, and O'Reilly had played international football for Denmark. I suppose that is the only thing, the only kind of difference there. Hamza hasn't played for the full Morocco team yet. Look, this comment, that's something that Patrick will address towards you guys. He wants to give an explanation. What is the plan for January? Now, the thing I'm going to say about that is, why have the club said nothing? Why have we got to Philippe Clement's next press conference and still nothing has come out from the club about Patrick Stewart speaking to the media? Nothing's come out from Patrick Stewart about wanting to speak to the media. This has all come from Clement. This has all come from what he is saying. Now, he has said that Stewart wants to make this statement. He has said that, already that the money that we need, that you've got to look at how the club's run and the cost of running the club before you start looking at buying players. So has he, in a way, kind of thrown Patrick Stewart under the bus? Has Clement kind of said, well, look, you're not good. John Gilligan came out and he said, I was going to get backed in January, that you were going to let me sign players, you were going to give me money to sign players, and I'm now not going to get that money. I feel that once again, I've kind of been misled. I've kind of, not had the full truth from you guys, and I'm not going to get any more backing. Niels is not going to get any more money to sign players. We're not going to be able to bring in any new players. We need new players, and you've let me down. So by doing this, has he kind of said that, right, over to you, deal with it? Because I'm fed up of being asked of this. I'm fed up of being asked about new signings, about new players. John Gilligan said, you'd back me. It now looks like you're not going to do it. Patrick Stewart, you go and face the fans. You go and talk to the fans. You tell them what the plan is. Because if it isn't that we're going to spend money, you can face all the flack. You can take all the hassle from the fans. So is he in effect throwing Stewart under the bus? Is he in effect saying to Patrick Stewart, look, you take the flack, you take the hassle. I'm not prepared to take it. Airwolf says Gilligan and Clement are both making Picard look stupid, saying getting back, Clement saying speak to Picard. Who is right? This is the question. And I think, as Blue Nose Bob says here, we need more transparency. That is absolutely true. We do need more transparency. We need to know what the situation is. Now, one thing I will say is it is very unusual for any club to come out and talk about their transfer business in January. If you go, one thing you will not see is Celtic coming out and, Celtic coming out and saying, we're going to spend, we're going to buy, or we're not going to buy. You don't see Liverpool doing it. You don't see Arsenal doing it. You don't see Chelsea doing it. You don't see Man United doing it. You don't see Man City doing it. You don't see the top clubs around Europe holding press conferences to talk about their plans. So why would we do that? And why is Clement saying Stewart's going to do that when it's completely out of the blue? Unless it is that there is an issue there between Patrick Stewart, Niels Coppen and Philippe Clement, that they were expecting money. They were expecting the ability to go and buy players. And now we're not going to get that. So is it in effect Clement saying, you've screwed me over again, like last January, like what you told me when I joined, you can deal with all the hassle. There you go, deal with it, because I'm fed up of dealing with it. I don't know. Just Stephen Clennon says Celtic winning things, hence why they get crazy prices for players. Is Clement being clever, engineering an excuse? I wasn't backed. If sacked, didn't get what he was promised, keeping his reputation intact. That could be very much the case, Airwolf. If it is that Clement is sacked at the end of the season, all he's got to do now, between now and when he goes, if he leaves, is say, well, it wasn't my fault. They didn't give me the players. When I signed the contract with them in November, they promised me that I would get X, Y, and Z. They promised me so much money. They promised me this. They promised me that. And they never delivered on any of it. So, yeah, he is being quite clever in that case. Scott says, more to me, to you, nonsense from behind the scenes at Ibrox. Absolutely. Anyway, to settle it, Airwolf is for Stuart to come out and state the truth. All we want is the truth, good or bad. Correct, Grant? Sounds like that. Absolutely, yeah. And this is the thing that I think frustrates the fans with Rangers as a football club, with the board, with the CEO, with the manager, with the director of football, is that as fans, we're kind of treated like mushrooms, aren't we? We are treated like mushrooms. We are, we are treated like absolute goons, and we're not looked after at all. We're not even considered. Okay, guys, we have some breaking fitness news. Okay, I haven't got breaking news music. Okay, so breaking news. Okay, so breaking news, guys. It is that Butland, Suter, Balogun, Tavernier, Casanwejo, Lawrence all out for tomorrow's game. So Butland is out, Suter is out, Balogun is out, Tavernier is out, Casanwejo is out, Lawrence is out. Okay, Sterling is a doubt. Okay, Sterling is a doubt. Kept in the dark, fed like shit, like mushrooms. That's our main Bob. Yeah, we brought in Stewart and Thornton, still not a word. Yeah, agreed. It's disgusting. So yeah, breaking news, guys. The breaking news is that Tavernier, Butland. So I'm going to put this up on the screen now. So Butland, Tavernier, Suter, Balogun, Cass, Lawrence, all out. Sterling is doubtful. So that is just another defensive catastrophe waiting to happen. I mean, it really genuinely is another catastrophe waiting to happen. Butland, Tavernier, Suter, Balogun, Cass, Lawrence, all out. So again, we're going to be very much makeshift back four. Very much again looking at probably, I would say now, Ridvan at right back, Kelly King in central defence alongside Proper, and Hjefte at left back with Kelly in goal. I don't think there's any other choice realistically other than that one. I mean, what else is there? What else is there? Central defence wise, you're kind of stuck as whatever you think of Leon King, whether you think he's up to the job, isn't up to the job, whether Clement thinks he's up to the job, isn't up to the job. You've kind of got to play him because there is no other players. There is no other, availability there. We literally are down to the bare bones when it comes to the defence. So again, it's going to be a very makeshift defence. Errol says, say Sterling out, who goes in at CB? If King doesn't get in, what message does that send to the academy lads? I mean, that's a great point, mate. If he doesn't put King in, if he goes for some weird system, or he puts Dowell in at centre back for heaven's sake, which I can see him doing, then yeah, what message does that send? Agreed. What else has Philippe Clement just had to say? Clement's also just said to the media, last season we had a lot of spells of injuries. The difficult thing with this season is lots of them are in the same position. It's something that is unpredictable. We have worked hard to try and strengthen in this department. Well, I don't think we have. I mean, what have we realistically brought in? In defence, we've brought in Proper, Cass, who's out now injured, and Hjefte. Well, that's not really a lot of players, is it, Philippe? Why aren't there any new investments in the board? It's a joke. I agree. Watch the Ross Ferguson 3:00 video. Watch it. More about that. B team it is then. Laughing my ass off. Got a feeling Barron centre back, Dowell in midfield. Hope I'm wrong. Me too, Errol. Me too. Yeah, I mean, if Leon King isn't played tomorrow night, if it is Barron in central defence or it's someone else in central defence, from the first team squad, then yeah, Leon King should be just going, see you later. I'm not staying here. Clement talks a lot of rubbish. Can he change his score prediction if you want to, mate? It's time for the young lads to come in. I agree. Look, the season's over. The season's done and dusted. We aren't winning the league. So we might as well put some of the kids in, give the kids a chance. I mean, what is that? How can it hurt? How can it hurt? Yeah, I mean, Clement does talk a lot of rubbish, DL2. We haven't really strengthened, have we, in the area of central defence or in the area of defence? If we'd actually substantially strengthened in central defence, we'd have bought 2 centre-backs, a right-back and a left-back still. Yeah, I do think Clement, says, 100%. We scored 3 good goals against Hibs, but you need to avoid conceding. It's important to make the correct decisions and stick to the game plan. I mean, that's such a non-comment. That is an absolute non-comment. I agree. This is a great point from Scott. A centre-back should have been lined up and signed last week. I agree, 100%. With the injury crisis we are currently going through, somebody should have been lined up, brought in last week, because they would have known how long Suter's going to be out for. They know how long Balogun's going to be out for. So if they know that these guys are going to be out for an extended period of time, they should be planning for that and they should be covering that. And I agree with Scott there. Get the young ones in. Yeah, I mean, look, there's nothing to lose now. We are already, looking at a situation where we are so far behind, we're not going to catch them. So, yeah, we might as well, stick the kids in, because there's literally nothing else to lose, is there? There really is nothing else to lose. I can't imagine that the young lads are going to do any worse. Why would they? They're not going to do any worse anyway than this lot. Leon, right, so here we go here. Leon Balogun will be back in the short term, but he won't be back for tomorrow. So it sounds like Leon Balogun could be back for Sunday, but won't be back for tomorrow. John Suter and James Tavernier won't be back for the weekend, but we can't put exact dates on these things. So Tav and Suter both out for Sunday as well, and no immediate comeback date. Okay, no immediate comeback date. So it sounds ominous. Now, what I heard about John Souttar is that this injury is more long term, so he could be out for quite a while. So that is not great. I mean, that's not great news at all. I think that we are, we do miss John Souttar. I think John Souttar provides a presence in there. So I think Souttar is a massive miss. I think he is a massive miss, a huge miss. Dundee will be licking their lips. Ross McCausland's fit, Stephen. He's fit and ready to go. Grant says, Nsiala not getting a look in when he was on the bench in the Champions League, then comes to us and can't get a game. I mean, that's a good point, mate. I don't get that one. Why Nsiala can suddenly be good enough for AC Milan in the Champions League, but isn't good enough for Rangers against Dundee, or isn't good enough for Rangers against Hibernian. Again, I don't get that. I don't get that at all. That is a absolute nonsensical comment and a nonsensical statement again, and a nonsensical position from the club. It really genuinely is. Really is. AC Milan won the cup, did they? I don't know. I don't follow a lot of Italian football, mate, at the moment. I did used to watch Italian football all the time back when Gaza played in Italy, and I'm a bit of a AC Milan fan. I do like AC Milan. They are my club, but in Italy, but don't really follow a lot of Italian football at the moment. Really don't follow a lot of Italian football at the moment. But look, I mean, the fact that Tav and Souttar Tav's no great loss, not a massive loss there, but Souttar, I think, is a huge loss. Souttar is a very big loss. Souttar is a quality player, and I think we are missing John Souttar's presence at the back. We are genuinely missing, his ability, his talent, his quality. Of course we are. What else has he said? In the beginning of the season, with a lot of new players, you need to build connections and principles. We went into a stable period with clean sheets, but we struggled to create. Now we have lost a lot of the players in defence. We need to build on this consistency. Again, an absolute bullshit non-comment from Philippe Clement. Yet again, just the same old shit again, week in, week out. We needed time to bed the players in. We're now missing defenders. We can score goals. We can't keep them out now. Same old crap. Same old week. Same old crap. Well, there we go, guys. There we go. Right, guys, that is it for this afternoon, as I've got to go and pick my daughter up from school. Thank you very much for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. Please obviously smash that sub. Help us to keep on growing. We want to get to 10K subs as soon as possible. I feel that once we hit 10K, then we can go full time here on the channel. Smash the like, comment, share, do all that great stuff for me. That would be brilliant. Final poll result today. Final poll result. Let's get that up. The final poll result in the poll is what's the final poll result? I can't find the final poll result. It's gone missing. Okay, well, I think it was 68% Rangers victory anyway. So 68% of you, 70% of you are saying it's going to be a Rangers victory tomorrow night. Look, it's probably hopefully going to be the result. Hopefully going to result. Right, guys, thank you for watching. Please obviously smash the like, sub, comment, share, do all that fabulous stuff for me. We'll be back very soon to speak to you here on the channel. As always, please remember, please never, ever forget we are.